Hi, Jason here with Home and Tech. So, I'm sure a lot of you watched the video that CNN released earlier this week. Surprise, surprise, that was my car in the video. Now, before everyone eviscerates me, you first need to go back with me to October 27th, about a month ago. On that day, a CNN reporter that I had previously spoken to asked me if I was going to be near New York City anytime in the next couple weeks. He also asked if I was cool with being on camera, along with my car. I was under the impression that they wanted to interview me about my experience with FSD Beta. Now, I live about 4 hours from New York City, but I was willing to make the drive. I had been so impressed with the progress of FSD that I thought this would be a great opportunity to share my experience and let the world see how great FSD Beta is. Now, I also did my homework beforehand. This CNN reporter had previously done some very fair and informative pieces on Tesla in the past. Not the usual negative stories towards Tesla that I usually see from the media. On the day of the recording, I quickly realized that they had no interest to speak with me. All they really wanted was access to my car. I still had high hopes because of the stories I had previously read from this reporter, but I was adamant that I would be riding in the car with them the entire time. I decided to use my cell phone to record the entire drive just in case an accident happened. For those of you that saw the original CNN video, you all know what happened. Instead of choosing to focus on all the amazing progress, they chose to focus only on the faults of the current version of FSD Beta. Again, beta. My guess is that they did this because it would get them more views. It wasn't because they didn't have enough footage of FSD Beta doing well. They actually had more than enough footage to produce a completely different type of video. I'm thankful I used my camera on my phone that day to record the drive, because now I can show you what CNN could have done with the footage. I am premiering my version of what that video should have been about, using only the footage from my cell phone from inside my car during that day. Now, selfishly, I hope that everyone watches this video and that they hit subscribe so I can continue to share the progress that Tesla is making with FSD. I also hope that Tesla doesn't take away my access because of the CNN story. I love being a beta tester and showing the world the great progress Tesla is making. So let's roll the tape.
Now, we're here in Brooklyn, New York. We're driving down Atlantic Avenue around Flatbush, and we specifically chose it to give it a challenge. Now, this is really one of the most challenging stretches of road that I've ever personally driven on. All right, so we are turning on the full self-driving beta. We have a green light, and it's trying to go, and we're gonna go around the curb here. Now, there is a pedestrian. Whoa. All right, we technically had the right of way, so technically that was correct. And now we're changing lanes to get into the center lane. And we've got a yellow light, red light, wheel still turning, stopped. Okay, right now, I am not the one driving the car. The car is driving itself. I have to keep my hands here at all times though, because you have to remain alert. This is not truly a fully self-driving car. We haven't crashed yet, which is more than can be said for a lot of Brooklyn drivers today. Human drivers are fallible. Human drivers make mistakes. And theoretically, a computer doesn't. Yeah, in New York City, you cannot make a right on red. That is a law, and this car is following the law. Whoop, whoop. It's getting a little hesitating there. So as you can see, the car sometimes does hesitate a little bit when going around a corner. You can see this is absolutely a challenging environment. We've got a McDonald's drive-thru right here. We've got cars here. We've got 3 lanes plus a bike lane. There is a lot going on this street, and I have now taken over because it put us into a bus stop. But that's okay. This is a challenge, and it is learning. It's a little more aggressive than I might drive, but it's still handling it with aplomb. Now, we're not trying to make this Tesla mess up. We don't want it to crash and then go tee-hee-hee Tesla. That's not what we're trying to do here. We just want to give it a challenge. It's so cool how you can see it, like seeing what the car sees. You can see that the car sees red lights on the graphics. It has turned its indicator on. I did not do that. The car did that on its own. You could see that the car sees an SUV here and a motorcycle parked right behind it. And it is weaving a bit as we go down the street, which is not a one-way street. Oh, Okay, so we did have to disengage just there because it tried to change lanes, but there wasn't really a lane to change into. It was a bus stop. Now, the system didn't really react faster or slower than I would have, but I'm an experienced driver. I've driven in New York City quite a bit, much to my chagrin. And because of that, I kind of had an idea of what was going to happen. I was able to see down the road and know, hey, this guy looks like he's going to get into my lane because there's something in his lane. It does seem to need an interruption every couple of blocks or so, but a computer is only as good as the hardware and software it's got. So that doesn't mean it's perfect quite yet. In fact, there are still things that Tesla openly admits it struggles with. FSD can't see potholes very well. The systems don't work that well in snow. But they're trying. Yes. Yep. Folding mirrors to pass through narrow way is what the car just said. And we've got a pedestrian. This is a very challenging environment, but now we're on the wrong side of the road. But right through the intersection, right on the right side of the road. Good Tesla. It did that. But we're stopping in the intersection. No, now we're going again. Hey, how about that? We've got a bus right here, and no, we've got a green light. And the car hesitated because we've got a red, it says no right turn, but we can go straight, and that's where we want to go. We want to go straight. The car is hesitating a little bit. Might be spooked by this backhoe we've got next to us, but that's okay. I stand at the ready to intervene. Yeah, so that's one of the things, sometimes if the car's hesitating a little bit, I have to intervene. Even if it's just giving a little gas just to get the car to get moving again, you have to do that sometimes, but you also have to be ready to take over at any time. Now, because this is the future, and the future doesn't happen unless you work for it. We're doing right around the speed limit, we're not hitting anything. The car can see cones, the car can see trucks, the car can see even pedestrians on the other side of the street. It really is fascinating to see it try to figure out situations. Now, I will point out the full self-driving beta has been in public hands for over a year now, and so far as I'm aware, there haven't been any accidents, which either means in most situations it's driving safely, or in situations where it gets a little dicey, a human is taking over. So there is that on its side. And I'll also say, I don't drive a Tesla every day. I am a little skittish. I'll fully admit that. So I am taking over more than someone who's used to how the system performs takes over, and because of that, maybe I'm skewing things a little bit, but that is the observer effect.